What if I told you you could make creamy shawarma at home in less than 30 minutes just by watching this video? Well, my name is Ehi and you're welcome to my kitchen. For this, we'll be needing some chicken breast and some beef because we're about to make what they call mixed shawarma at your favorite shawarma spot. If you're Nigerian, you know what I'm talking about. When I make shawarma, I like to pick out the beef and the chicken breast that has some fat in it because I think it comes out tastier. I also like to cut the chicken breast and the beef into stripes before proceeding to marinate and grill. Honestly, you can marinate whole and then grill before proceeding to cut into stripes, but I find that when you cut into stripes before marinating, the seasonings and the flavors soak into the meat, as in the seasoning will enter inside. I know that some people cut their proteins into cubes, but I feel like stripes are always better for shawarma because it gives that very vertical kind of look and you want it to be looking like this. Now we're going to proceed to marinate our proteins, and for this I'm using my favorite spices. A list of all ingredients used will be in the description box as always, so you want to check it out. Now you want to be generous with your seasoning because if the protein no sweet or more, your shawarma feel no sweet like that. Once I've added in the seasoning, I proceed to use my clean hands to massage this in thoroughly before adding in some sesame oil to lock in the flavors. You can make use of any other cooking oil of choice, and you can decide to wear gloves or use a spoon to mix this because it can be really messy. But I was making this for my family, my hands were clean and it was easier to work with. Once you're done mixing in the seasoning, it should look like this, and you can let this rest for about 30 minutes before proceeding to grill. For the purpose of this video and for the benefits of my family members who do not have an oven, I'll be using the frying method. Now when frying your meat for shawarma, you do not want to deep fry. You want to actually shallow fry. So you want to put very minimal oil into your pan, whichever cooking oil you'll be using, and then you want to just toss your chicken breast or your beef around the pan until it is crisp and golden brown. You can notice that the beef has produced more oil than the chicken breast. That's because we made use of the fatty part, and you see this oil, we cannot lose it. You need it for your sauce. Whilst the protein is cooling down, because you do not want to use hot protein for your shawarma, you want to proceed to prep your vegetables. Now, you can make use of a potato peeler to peel your carrots, or you can make use of a knife if you do not have one. But you want to ensure that your vegetables are properly cleaned because you do not want sand or dirt in your shawarma. When making shawarma, I always like to use this grater for the carrots because it gives me those thin stripes that I love a lot. However, if you do not have a grater at home, feel free to make use of any other cutter or even a knife if that's what you have. For the cabbage, I sometimes also make use of this grater to cut it into very tiny bits like this. But you can also make use of a knife and a chopping board to just cut it into very thin stripes and proceed from there. Some people also make use of other vegetables like cucumber and onions and whatnot, but I like to keep mine simple. After cutting all of the veggies, you want to give it a very good mix until everything combines thoroughly. Then we can proceed to make our actual shawarma sauce. For the sauce, I like to make use of some ketchup, but if you do not have or you do not like ketchup, you can always alternate this with some yellow French mustard. I'll also be using some sweet chili sauce, which is very optional, but I advise that you add this in, and of course some mayonnaise as well. Now we're going to proceed to mix all of this together thoroughly before proceeding to the next step. Let me quickly remind you of my live cooking session coming up on the 15th of June 2025. You can peep the flyer on the screen. Trust me, it promises to be a blast because the spicy catfish veggie sauce is my recipe and I will be sharing it for the very first time. So, you'll be getting pure gold for free. Don't forget to turn on post bell notifications so that you'll be notified once the live feed starts. And also, if you're not subscribed yet, I do not know what you're waiting for. I like to add some black pepper to this mixture for extra flavor, but this is very optional and you can skip the part. Now once you are done mixing, your cream should have this consistency and should look like this. If you are aiming for a yellowish or creamer color, then you want to make use of yellow French mustard and skip the ketchup. I also like to add some evaporated milk to my cream because I can be extra, and trust me when I say that this just amplifies the flavor and gives you that extra creaminess that you are aiming for. So if this is you and you are not lactose intolerant, please, you want to add some milk to your cream, mix that up properly, and then we can proceed to the next step. At this point, you can begin wrapping your shawarma because some people like to layer their products. So layer the vegetable mix, the protein, and then the cream. But that is not me. I like to mix everything up in one bowl to ensure that it is fully covered with cream before proceeding to wrap. Notice that I'm adding the oil of the protein. See, you need that oil in this sauce because it just amps the flavor and gives it more depth. When using this method, you want to ensure to save some cream for later because you would need some cream to rub over your bread before adding in the filling for that extra creaminess. Just look at how creamy this looks. Look at how good this looks. How your shawarma no go sweet, my guys? Tell me how. Now we're almost done with the process. The second to the last step is the wrapping of the shawarma. For this, I'm using some tortilla wraps, but you can always make use of pita bread wraps, what we call shawarma bread. Honestly, I couldn't get that on this day, but the truth is, if you cannot get that, tortilla wraps are a very good alternative to pita bread wraps. But some people say that it's not the same thing. Honestly, I don't think I notice a difference apart from the fact that tortilla wraps are a bit stronger and may be more difficult to roll. So remember the cream I said you should save? This is why you need to save it. You want to rub some cream over the bread before adding in your fillings. Now at this point, you want to ensure that you do not overfill your bread because if the filling is too much, rolling it will be difficult and your filling may start to pop out of the bread. I'll show you what that probably looks like later. To wrap, you basically just want to fold once, fold the edges, and then roll up until the end. Basically the same thing you will do for your spring rolls. So if you are a spring roll pro, this is where your skills will come in handy. Let me just quickly state that honestly, pita bread or shawarma bread comes out really finer and it's a lot easier to roll than tortilla wraps. I'm just going to proceed to do another one and just let you watch and learn. Now I'm done rolling all of the shawarma wraps and I was able to get 7 shawarma wraps out of this. Honestly, I think I still had some feelings left that I would use to enjoy some rice later because if you use that filling to chop jollof rice, hi, you will thank me later. Anyway, this is what you want your shawarma wraps to look like, and if your feeling is too much, this is exactly what your shawarma wrap will be looking like. It will not lap properly. Now we're just going to proceed to grill this over heat, basically because we want to seal that edge first, and then of course we just want to toast this for a bit to give you that extra crunch. Some people opt out of this, but I never do that. Now at this point, you do not want to press this down. You just want to tap it down gently to ensure that it laps, and you want to leave this for about a minute or two because you do not want your shawarma getting burnt. Now you want to do this on both sides, and once you are done, your shawarma will be looking as nice as this. If you're not an OG like me, please use a spoon to take this out the heat. Oh, don't say you saw a using her hands. You're not meant to use your hands and you got your hands burnt. But guys, just look at how nice our shawarma be looking, and the filling is juicy and creamy, just how you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more recipes if you've not done that already. Like, share, and comment. Bye.